Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to start today's Board of Control. Will the clerk please call the order?
Good morning, everyone. Calling the roll for the Monday, June 29th Board of Control meeting. It is now 11:02 a.m. Nan Baker.
Here.
Dale Miller.
Here.
Trevor Macular, serving as an alternate for Dan Brady.
Here.
Nicole English, serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers, serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
Lenora Lockett. Lee Tucker, serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 22nd, unless anyone had any comments or changes noted. Okay, hearing none, I'll make that motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr. Dale, I will second.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Public comment.
Is there any public comment at this time?
Okay, we have no public comment. Moving on to contracts and awards.
Moving on to new items. The first new item is a two-part item. Item number BC 2020-366, Department of Public Works. A, submitting an exemption from aggregation on requisition number 46222, which will result in award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $998,305 for bridge inspection, evaluation, structural modeling, and load rating services. And B, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into a contract with Arcadis US Inc. in the amount not to exceed $498,580 for West 140th Street Bridge number 01.82 and West 150th Street Bridge number 01.94.
Nicole English with Public Works. So the reason for the aggregation, I think Andre answered the council questions, and this was just because it was selected under one RFQ. However, the documents for the first consultant came back a lot sooner than this one, so it had gotten into the system earlier and had been approved at a BOC prior. These are inspection services, so these are large bridges that need to be actually touched in place every couple years, and so this is the in-depth inspection that we are hiring out because it's above and beyond what our typical bridge inspection department can handle. The RFQ went out, as I said, to pick two different consultants. This was the second one that we're putting through, and there was 11 proposals submitted. 2 were selected, the top 2 firms for the 2 different projects. And it's completely road and bridge funded.
Hey, thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
This is Dale, second.
By Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the item approved. Next item.
Next item, item number BC 2020-367, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into an agreement with County Planning Commission in the amount not to exceed $300,000 for planning and technical services for the period June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2022.
English again with Public Works. So this is formalizing an agreement with the Planning Commission, with Public Works and the Planning Commission in order to work together. We've, over the last couple of years, and especially with the new director who's there for a short more time, but we've realized that there is some services they can provide to us that previously we might have gone out and used consultants for. It's, we get a better price using our folks next door to us, and we get a good product for them. So we'd like to continue working with them. The law department has suggested we should do so in an actual agreement for ORC, similar to what development does with the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Are there any questions from the board members?
This is Nan Baker. I have one question.
Sure.
So it looks like it's a 2-year contract, $150,000 up to a year. Is knowing what we've spent in the past with them and knowing what we've spent with consultants, is $150,000 a year what you've determined what you need, given the history?
This was a start. We can always amend it if there's additional funds. I think a few years ago when the transfer was made by OBM, they transferred $250,000 a year, which was too high. They couldn't do that much work for us. They couldn't fit it in with their regular work. So we've pared it down a little bit from that because, again, they still have outside work that they're doing too. So we needed to be, conscious of that number. So we can always amend it if there's additional things they can do for us or items get identified in the meantime.
Okay, good, thank you. And do you anticipate that you will be needing any consultants, given we're switching all or most of the work to the Planning Commission?
Yeah, we're definitely not giving them all of or most of the work. I mean, this is some select planning services, GIS work, some work on the lakefront plan that we're going to tap into them for. Mapping services. So it's kind of like pieces that we might have done with other consultants, but there's definitely still a need for consultants to do work for public works. I mean, we still have design work on engineering projects that the Planning Commission obviously cannot do. So this is just a small portion of the work that we would use consultants to do.
All right, and last question is, do you feel that this is a cost-saving move, splitting up the work between the Planning Commission and then outside consultants, given we're under contract? It's not to exceed. Does that mean is it by invoice?
Correct. So they will invoice, they keep timesheets and bill towards the project, just like they would bill cities for their time. So we will get invoices monthly and then pay them off of those invoices. And we do think it's a cost savings. Some of our consultants, while they're very good, cost what they, cost a little bit more money. So I think it's going to be a win-win. The County Planning Commission gets to do some county work, and then we also get some good services for a decent price. And the fact that they're literally our neighbors next door helps as far as collaboration goes. So I think this agreement is going to work out for both sides.
Okay, well, thank you, Nicole. Good answers. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Any further questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Nan Baker.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, item approved. Next item.
Next item is a two-part item, item number BC 2020-368, Department of Sustainability. A, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to City of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $15,000 for the provision of an outside consultant to create an action plan for the Vision Zero initiative. And it's for the period June 15th, 2020 through August 31st, 2021. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi, this is Mike Foley from the Department of Sustainability. So this is an effort that the City of Cleveland is leading to really try to reduce the amount of bike, pedestrian, and auto crashes or accidents that take place. It's kind of this theory about kind of really looking at the traffic network and the availability of bike lanes and pedestrian lanes, and really try to figure out a very logical system that minimizes accidents that are occurring. We think it's important also because as we're bringing in more, devices like scooters should be coming back. They're already back in town now, but those devices are going to be going out to, we've got at least 6 first-rank suburbs that are interested in expansion into their communities. So we think there's just a logic for the county to help out. It's a $100,000 RFP for a consultant to come in and work with the larger group to work on this plan, and we would be kicking in $15,000 of it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Any questions from the board members?
This is Nan Baker. I have a question.
Yes, sure, please.
All right, so Vision Zero, the way that it reads, it says eliminate all traffic fatalities. It seems like, Mike, this is an unrealistic goal. I see in the traditional approach in Vision Zero, we are now saying preventable. But, I mean, there's so much going on in this industry with driverless cars and, you know, and all the new equipment that is being used in the way people get around. There's studies that go along with those too. Are we duplicating what's already out there? And is this really a realistic goal that we want to spend $100,000 on, but the county spends $15,000? Do you really? I don't know. I'm having a hard time. $15,000 will pay for a lot of meals right now in this tough time that we're going through. Is that, you really want to put $15,000 of county funds in that?
Yeah, you know, that's why I think we've had this discussion before.
Yeah. This is a little more over the top.
Yeah, so I think that I think this is a valuable program. I think that there are naturally, I mean, you know, bike sales have gone through the roof, not just in Cleveland, but throughout the country over the last 5 months because of people are getting out more on bikes and getting more used to them. I think there are going to be a lot more people on the streets with bikes and scooters. There's less people on public transit for a long time, I think. So I think there's a rational reason why we should really be thinking about making sure that our transportation network includes as safe a possible pedestrian and bike option as possible. And you know, this is you know, look, your idea that I know it's called Vision Zero, and that's kind of maybe the bumper sticker name for it, but this really is trying to minimize the amount, making the bike and pedestrian network as safe as possible. You're right. Look, is it going to eliminate every death? Probably not, right? But not, you know, no, that's just kind of the nameplate of this thing of the program. But it's to make, you know, kind of bike and pedestrian travel as safe as possible in an area hopefully where we're going to need more of it.
And you don't feel, Mike, that there are other organizations out there, especially involved in transportation, that aren't also dealing with this and coming up with recommendations? And I mean, are we the only one? No, I mean, there's so many that are looking at safety when it comes to bikes and different types of travel.
Yeah, Councilwoman, I hear you. I appreciate that. But, you know, this is being led by, I mean, this is a large group that the city of Cleveland has put together a coalition on. So it's planners from, you know, both the city and the county. There's bike and pedestrian organizations, Bike Cleveland, who are part of this. We've got some of the suburban planners are in these meetings as well. It's kind of a coalition of groups who are thinking about, you know, how to make the transportation networks more safe. So while there are other people thinking about this, they're also part of this coalition who's working on the Vision Zero plan.
And just one last question. Is this geared more for biking or is it more for vehicles? I mean,
it's to think about it all together as a kind of coordinated system. So if you've got vehicles driving down roads, right? And where's the bike lane? How does it fit with the traffic light pattern? Is it safe? You know, are there trees or bends in the road that make it less safe? So it's kind of all thinking it as a whole system of you know, a transportation network that includes bike and pedestrian in the middle of a network that's got a lot of cars and vehicles on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Are there further questions from the board members? Okay, hearing none, then I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is Dale. I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Item
Nan
approved.
Baker is voting no.
Okay, we have one no vote. Thank you, Nan. Okay, move on to the next item then, please. Thank you.
The next item is a two-part item, item number BC 2020-369, Court of Common Pleas, Corrections Planning Board. A, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University in the amount not to exceed $180,000 for performance data collection and evaluation services in connection with the implementation of the High-Risk Domestic Violence Court for the period October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2023. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Hi, this is Linda Lagoons, Data Assistant Administrator with the Corrections Planning Board. So this is another one of our agreements or contracts that we have with various partners, supporting the High-Risk Domestic Violence Court, this new initiative with the court. This is an agreement with Case Western Reserve University for $180,000 over 4 years, which is $45,000 per year for each year. And it, again, supports the collection of performance data and evaluation services during the implementation of the high-risk court. The funds will support the evaluation of the court, of the domestic violence court, on a two-pronged approach. It's both a process and an outcome assessment, which will determine if the court is actually effective or whether changes are needed. So the evaluation goes through once the court is up and running, the evaluation goes into effect. And if there are improvements that are needed or changes or suggestions or whatever, the evaluator is there to provide it to the court. So it's a good process that's in place that will, help it to keep on track and be successful. To gather data for the process evaluation, Case will conduct interviews with the high-risk domestic violence court stakeholders, attend biweekly staffing meetings, and attend court hearings. There was a question presented to us regarding this program. This is, and I just want to clarify, this is a grant funded by the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance, for 4 years. The first 3 years are the implementation of the high-risk domestic violence court, and the 4th year, funding for the implementation goes away, but the evaluation funds continue for a 4th year. So there's still collection of data regarding the offenders who have participated in the program, just to make sure that we're meeting our recidivism goals. So I just wanted to clarify that the Bureau of Justice Assistance, it's not unusual that it provides this type of setup with the 4th year as continued evaluation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Are there any questions on this item from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is Dale, I'll second.
Lee got you, Dale, sorry. Seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. The next item, please.
Next item.
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor, just one recusal. I've got a family member that works there. So.
Okay, thank you, Trevor. Noted at one recusal. Okay, good.
Next item, item BC 2020-370, Court of Common Pleas, Corrections Planning Board, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into an agreement with the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office in the amount not to exceed $138,900 for assistant prosecutor services in connection with the implementation of the High-Risk Domestic Violence Court. And it's for the period October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2022.
So this is Linda Lagoons, and again, with the Corrections Planning Board, and this agreement with the Prosecutor's Office is one of 3 agreements that we have with county offices for this high-risk domestic violence court that was funded a $1 million grant by the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance. This particular agreement for $138,900 is over a 3-year period. So then the funds would be $46,300 per year to the prosecutor's office to provide their prosecutorial services in connection with the implementation of the court. A dedicated assistant prosecutor with specialized domestic violence training will prosecute high-risk domestic violence cases and regularly participate in staffing meetings and court hearings addressing defendants and their progress under the high-risk domestic violence court and its programming. The prosecutor's office will annually address 50 unduplicated felony DV cases or 150 cases over the 3-year period and involving the court. And the process for handling cases will begin at the arrest of a defendant and continue through final disposition or compliance with court orders. Thank you.
Okay, thanks again, Linda. Any questions from the board on this item?
I have one question, Nan Baker.
Sure, please.
I understand, you know, the answers about why this is so late.
Yeah.
But this is 9 months. This is 9 months late. And I know that the COVID-19 certainly played a role in everyone's schedule. But this was back from October. So from October to February, that was 5 months without the impact of COVID. And then, of course, the additional 4 months. So why 9 months seems like a long time to have it be late? Is extenuating circumstances beyond, you know, what's been said?
I appreciate the question, and I mean, as soon as we were awarded the grant, we were onto these this contract with CASE and the other agreements with the county offices. And it's my experience, at least in this particular contract in dealing with CASE, they have this internal review process that takes time. And we, it just does. I'm not sure, maybe it's because of the university and its system and it's particularly slow in certain circumstances. This is a new type of contract for them. I don't know. But I believe we didn't get their signed contract until into the new year. Even though, and we were going back and forth also in the development of this contract just to make sure everything was correct because this is a very important program to us. So, and then the COVID thing hit, and what I meant by that in my response is that when you try to get in touch with someone from the county, and by the way, I deal with Michelle Hicks, and she's fabulous. She's very responsive, very professional, wonderful. But, she was not in on certain days and working that through. You had to have a lot of patience to get through the lawsuit system and getting all the right documents, and time would pass and you have to get new documents in there and updated. So you just had to have patience through the COVID process. And yes, I would have loved to have had this through sooner, but thankfully all four are going through around the same time. And the last part of this is, with this particular grant, you are given 6 months to do what's called an action plan or a planning process. So we already knew that the actual implementation of the program wasn't going to start for months down the end. So we had some time buffered in our timeline in the grant to develop these contracts. So,
Okay.
yeah. So,
and I know that it is a good program. There's no question about it, and I appreciate the work. But you've been having ongoing meetings, and no one's been paid, so there'll be a pretty substantial bill for 9 months worth of work that they are now waiting for?
Well, actually, CASE has been attending these planning meetings once a month, and they may have been consulting with our coordinator on the program, but in terms of the heavy lifting of their evaluation does not occur until the program begins, and the defendants are brought into the program, and then the court starts, so it's really, we're at not a full scale. We are nowhere near that yet.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the answers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr. Trevor, second.
Seconded by Mr. Mackler. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Thank you.
Next item BC 2020-371, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board, recommending an award on a purchase order and enter into an agreement with the Department of Public Safety and Justice Services Witness Victim Services Center in the amount not to exceed $62,278 for domestic violence victim advocacy services in connection with the implementation of the High Risk Domestic Violence Court for the period October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2022.
So this is Linda Lagunzet again with the Corrections Planning Board. This is the third of our agreements with the county, agreements that support programming for the High-Risk Domestic Violence Court. This amount this agreement for the Witness Victim Services Center is $62,278 over a 3-year period, or $27,746 for the first year and $20,766 for years 2 and 3. The center will assist domestic violence victims associated with offenders before the High-Risk Domestic Violence Court with services that allow them to better navigate the criminal justice system. They'll have an advocate who will accompany victims throughout the entire domestic violence court process, helping them to understand the different stages of the criminal cases so that they can make informed choices about participation and input. And advocate will also provide them additional or lead them to additional services that they may need with regards to the case, addressing any other legal, economic, and behavioral health concerns that may arise. The advocate, just like the county prosecutor and the county public defender, will also attend staffing meetings to discuss findings and share case information when possible. And also, it's again 50 unduplicated defendants, felony defendants, will be involved in this case. So we're anticipating that many victims to be involved as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. The next item, please.
Next item is a
Thank you.
two-part item. Item number BC 2020-372, Department of Health and Human Services. A, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Mobile Med One Inc., doing business as MedWorks, in the amount not to exceed $90,648 for administration, outreach, enrollment, and coordination services for the Cuyahoga Health Access Partnership, also known as Chap program, and it's for the period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2022, and B, recommending the award in connection with said RP exemption.
Good morning. This is Sabrina Roberts from the Department of Health and Human Services. The contract with Mobile Med One is the company that does business as MedWorks. They're known in the community and trusted as that entity, MedWorks. The umbrella organization that the Chap program falls under to provide assistance with the access plan, navigation services for insurance, and the convening role with Northeast Ohio Outreach and Enrollment Council. The reason for the exemption, Cuyahoga County, we led the process to create a public-private partnership to address access issues for uninsured in a collaborative manner. The partnership was named Chap, Cuyahoga Health Access Partnership, the program name. CHAP's founding partners were key stakeholders that included local government, city and county, hospital systems, and the federally qualified health centers, health plans, and local foundations. The partnership felt that an umbrella organization would best serve the work of CHAP to streamline back office functions and just put the money directly into service. And this was a natural fit for MedWorks because they provided free health care to uninsured and underinsured. The data, they've had over 2,300 client touches from January 2019 to March 2020, and had over 2,000 Medicaid enrollment. And they have had quarterly outreach meetings with these 30 other organizations that they sort of convene each quarter.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, this is Dale. I have two questions. And the questions are, who would receive these services, and what would be the nature of the services provided?
So MedWorks in general has the pop-up clinics, and I think the last big one you may have heard about was at the County Convention Center. They had a dental clinic, and they served over 1,000 patients over 2 days. They also, in the community, have pop-up clinics, and they work with the different hospitals and FQHCs, federally qualified health centers, to bring the uninsured, because they are trusted, the name MedWorks, to the community. Now with COVID, they've turned to telehealth items just because of COVID, but in the future, they'll do a mix of both in-person and virtual, a blend of those. I'm sorry, I thought I heard someone say something. The uninsured or underinsured, there are many people with very, very, very high deductibles, and some people who have medical insurance but do not have dental insurance. So the people who are uninsured, and now with people being laid off of work, there are many, many more people uninsured. So anyone can come to a MedWorks clinic and sign up, as long as you're in Cuyahoga County, and they will service you for your medical needs through telehealth at this point. But again, they will blend telehealth, virtual and in person at a later time.
Okay.
And these monies are only for a part of one staff person for that operation.
Any further questions from the board members? Okay, hearing none, then I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
This is Dale. I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item approved. Thank you.
Next item number BC 2020-373, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, recommending a sole source award on a purchase order and enter into a contract with Enterprise Community Partners, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $368,850 to promote the Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Care Tax Credit, and provide free tax preparation assistance to low and moderate income individuals and families. And it's for the period July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Good morning. This is Chris Alexander, Health and Human Services. On behalf of Job and Family Services, we are requesting approval to enter into a new sole source contract with Enterprise Community Partners to continue to offer free tax preparation services for low-income, moderate-income taxpayers in Cuyahoga County. The Enterprise manages 18 volunteer income tax assistance sites, VITA sites, and they also lead the Cuyahoga Earned Income Tax Coalition, which provides free tax preparation and access to other financially based services, including financial counseling. Enterprise promotes and advocates for the EITC, a refundable tax credit for people who work but earn very low incomes. By offering these services at no cost to our filers, the coalition helps low-income taxpayers avoid costly tax preparation fees and exorbitant refund anticipation charges. This ensures that the taxpayers pocket more of their return. The coalition includes 2 county sites, one at Old Brooklyn and Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Family Service Centers. The coalition also has 17 additional funding partners. Enterprise has been providing this service and leading the Cuyahoga County Coalition for more than a decade. They were recognized and approved as a sole source provider last year as well. Last year, the coalition served 13,885 unique tax filers and processed just over $18 million with more than 300 trained certified volunteers. So those tax dollars largely return to Cuyahoga County and are spent in the county. I did provide 2 supporting documents I hope you received regarding the program highlights and COVID. If there are questions around COVID, I have since learned, since sending those, that 7 of the VITA sites have actually reopened and are doing in-person, face-to-face tax preparation for filers, obviously using social distancing recommendations. This budget is also flat from last year, and it represents 100% federal temporary assistance to needy family dollars. I can answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Are there any questions from the board members?
This is Dale. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
And you mentioned about that they have a number of other funding partners. Can you give me an example of who some of the other funding partners are, and can you tell me what the amount of money is that's being provided by other funders for this program?
Okay, I can list the other funders, the dollar amounts I can get to you in the future. I know that the county dollars represent about 42% of their total program budget, if that's helpful. The other partners include the IRS, United Way Services, Third Federal Savings and Loan, PNC, Ohio Savings, Community Bank, Citizens, Key Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Huntington Bank, U.S. Bank, Dollar Bank, Chemical Bank, Cleveland Neighborhood Progress, the Nord Foundation, Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund, and, I'm sorry, the Cleveland Foundation I already mentioned.
Okay, that's definitely helpful. Thanks a lot. And
Thank you.
one other question is what has been the impact of the federal delay of the tax filing deadline from April 15th to July 15th on this operation?
So with the shutdown of our VITA sites, I do not know whether or not the tax preparation private organizations were shut down as well. My sense is that both entities offered online services. Because they are open and taking because they're open and taking filing through July 15th, they will continue open through October normally in case somebody asks for an extension. Our numbers don't usually come in until August. Right now, through May, so I don't have June data quite yet. Through May, the federal returns, they've had about 8,417, and during that same time last year, there were about 13,423. So there's a significant difference. There is time to catch up. The dollar value so much that they've processed in terms of the federal returns is $15,649,000. At the same time last year was about $18.2 million. So those final numbers will probably come in mid to end of August, and we'll find out exactly what that impact looks like.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further questions from the board? Hearing none, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Dale.
By Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, item BC 2020-374, Department of Health and Human Services, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, submitting an amendment to an agreement with Cuyahoga County Department of Workforce Development for job readiness and training for recipients of temporary assistance for needy families and food assistance employment and training services. It's for the period July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2021, to modify the terms effective July 1st, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $255,725.68.
Thank you. Chris Alexander again, Health and Human Services. On behalf of Cuyahoga Job and Family Services, we're requesting approval to amend an interagency agreement with Cuyahoga County Department of Workforce Development through June 30th of 2020. This project is mandated by the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5101, which sets forth agreements with the one-stop operators and partners that implement Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, also known as WIOA. You probably have heard that phrase before. Locally, Ohio Means Jobs Cleveland-Cuyahoga County, or OMJ, is a collaborative workforce system of Cuyahoga County and the city of Cleveland. OMJ operates a one-stop career center downtown in addition to 2 located career centers at our Old Brooklyn and Quincy Neighborhood Family Service Centers. Services include job search assistance, job fairs, employment-related youth programs, and other workforce programs that support labor force development using throughout the WIOA program. This budget amendment represents 2 county staff, Cuyahoga Job and Family Services One-Stop Partner Share, which we are required each year to contribute to, occupational skills training through individual training accounts, and a small administration fee. The dollars for this project are federal temporary assistance to needy family dollars.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Are there any questions from the board members on this item?
Yes, this is Dale.
Sure.
Do you have any sense of what percentage of the people who lost their jobs locally due to COVID-19 either have or soon will be able to get their old jobs back, and what percentage will have to seek new employment?
Yeah, I do not have that labor force information, but I can reach out to OMJ. I'm sure they do have that. I know that services have continued, many services have continued remotely while the county offices were closed. So they are offering remote career and job fairs, and they are also offering the ability for job seekers to actually work live time with the case managers that work with Department of Workforce Development so that they can get job search assistance. But I can seek that labor information you asked about and see if we can find out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is Trevor.
This is Dale.
Okay, I got Dale first, Trevor. Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, item BC 2020-375, Department of Workforce Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with Strategic Resources Consulting, LLC, for outreach and communication services to develop and implement a communication and outreach plan for the period November 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2020, to expand the scope of services to include outreach services for a virtual job fair, and it's effective June 29th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $19,100.
Good morning, this is Mary Kelly from the Department of Workforce Development. And if I could address the previous item, Councilperson Miller, I do not have those exact percentages in terms of the labor force information, as Ms. Alexander stated, but we will research that and get back to you all. And I can say that here at Ohio Means Jobs, Cleveland, Cuyahoga County, we have been able to successfully move to virtual service provision. We will be reopening our building on a soft opening basis on July 6th. And right now we are providing full services remotely via phone and computer access. So to address this request that we have, we're looking for an approval of an amendment that we had engaged with prior to the COVID crisis, the Strategic Resources Consulting for outreach and promotion of the Ohio Means Job Center. So what this is we are looking to amend that because due to the COVID-19 crisis, there were about 136,000 new unemployment filers just in Cuyahoga County between the time period of around March 24th or May 30th. So we moved collaboratively to work with Cuyahoga County and PCs for People to execute and promote a virtual job fair and to also promote PCs for People, who was distributing computers and internet access for people to be able to participate in that virtual job fair. It was a new, unforeseen initiative, and so Strategic Resources had to create a separate ad campaign and outreach program for this. So we are looking to amend their contract for that purpose.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions on this item, please?
I'm sorry, I
Chair,
just wanted to
this is
make sure. Go ahead, Trevor.
Oh, hi, Mary. This is Trevor.
Hi, Trevor.
I just wanted to, why, I mean, if we knew we had to do this as part of an outreach, why wouldn't have this been included in the two previous emergency purchases that were approved regarding the job fair?
Okay. I do not believe that this was, I mean, I'm not aware of prior emergency purchases regarding the job fair. I believe that this was one for the promotional side of it. So it was my understanding from the County Department of Innovation that we were putting this together for June as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. So I don't think I've got the answer to that. Or can you clarify that for me, Trevor? I guess I don't understand the question.
Yeah, so, I mean, in, April, late April, early May, the county approved kind of two separate emergency purchases for the virtual job fair. One, was for the, I guess, you know, actual operation to
Sure.
conduct the virtual job fair, the 75,000. And then the other one was for PCs for people to purchase the, you know, computers and hotspots to allow people to participate in the job fair. I think that was for like 225,000 total. And then we were putting that with the, and, you know, those came prior to the actual job fair itself. Why, what happened to this one of, that it's coming after the fact?
Hey,
Oh, okay, I understand, Trevor, thanks. That clarified it a lot. Because, this is separate from both the operation of it and, the provision of the PCs. So this was the promotional plan, which came a little later. And to be totally honest, we, had a little bit of a delay in getting some of the contract materials in, because we were focused on promoting the job fair. So we recognize we are coming before you a little bit late, but that was the reason.
Hey, Trevor, it's Mike Chambers. I talked to Catherine on this item. My understanding is this is not additional money. It's more so just amending the contract. So even though it shows those breakdowns, that was the same breakdown of the initial items we had. So I don't think this is new money. I think it's just amending the contract for what we've done. I'll have to get more definition on that, but I believe that's the reason.
Yeah, that's true. This is not additional dollars, on top of the $250,000 for the actual job fair. This is an amendment to, the Department of Workforce Development's contract with an outreach and promotions company. Does that help?
Okay. Yeah.
So we're adding dollars to that contract, not the overall virtual job fair contract. Does that make sense?
All right, so it sounds like this 19,100 is potentially part of the 75,000 that we were giving to Ohio Means Jobs to conduct the job fair. I mean, is that, it sounds like it's part of that original money?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's
This
not an
is
additional.
amending our contract, right,
Okay.
right.
And that's my understanding as well, Trevor.
Mike, when you confirm that, can you just circle back around and just let me know that, please?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, but I will send you an email as well.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Dan, did you have a question?
I did, thank you. So, and just to, I'd like that clarification too, because it does read, additional funds in the amount not to exceed 19.1. So that clarification would be good to have. The second question I had, was, and I know with a lot of organizations that plan to do many different, in-person type of events, they have saved, unfortunately, they have saved a lot of funding because they weren't able to hold them. And when they're going to virtual events using Zoom or other purposes, they actually have saved quite a bit of funds. So are you finding that even though we have this job fair and it was something unexpected, that it was, that it is something actually less than what we would have done in a real in-person job fair?
That's a really good question. And how I would answer that is we had the initial, outlay of funding to purchase the virtual job fair software and to get all that set up and ready to go. But we found that we were, is someone trying to get through? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. We found that having a virtual job fair, though, was actually more productive, and we were able to get a larger amount of people. We had 2,700 people who registered to participate in this job fair, which is far more efficient and better to do. We could not have gotten that volume of people in a normal on-person job fair. So we do anticipate that we will continue on, and then the cost savings of doing these virtually, it will definitely be able to expand our outreach to more employers and more people so that there are efficiencies served there. This was the first one. We are asking both the virtual job fair people and our own people who put this on to deliver us much more analytics about where the actual registrants went, what were the most, popular employers, what industries got the most hits, if you will. So I don't have exact dollar figures to be able to demonstrate a savings. However, we do believe that this can be the wave of the future, and it will be a much more efficient and trackable way to do job fairs in the future.
Yeah, I agree. I heard it was a very good success, and I was glad to see that we took the initiative to do that. I was just curious, though, is at the end, when you look at your budget and you see how much you spent doing it virtually versus what it would have cost for the rental of the wherever it is we held it, the people that were there to help organize it, the money that's put in place for, discretionary funds that are needed, that at the end, virtual job fair, I would think would be considerably less than dollars. Some things did come out of this that are good.
Oh, we believe so. We believe so, and I think that that's a very accurate observation.
Okay. The second question I had was, and I know it's too soon to tell, and you did hit on some of the results of your, of making sure you understand how the fair went, but it'd be good to know how many were actually hired, because that's really the end result, is
Sure.
How many of the 2,700 that you had engaged for job seekers, how many of them were actually hired? That would be, maybe another few weeks would have to pass, but that would be a good number to have. And
Sure.
Then finally, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, what I can say is we had anticipated that a variety of people would want to know that answer. That is really the bottom line for why we did it. What I can say is, again, allowing the job fairs to go virtually, it's a lot easier to electronically track, the registrants. They have to provide more information than like an in-person job fair, and it's easier to track because they have to sign into each job booth they go. So we will be looking forward to that, and we can certainly provide that information as soon as we have that compiled.
Thank you. And lastly, I see that 50% is paid by the Mandel Foundation and 50% by the CARES Act. Is there any consideration of 100% being paid by the CARES Act, and the Mandel perhaps could be supporting something else that may not be covered by the CARES Act? Any thought to that?
Actually, in terms of me at Workforce Development, I believe that was the split decided by Cuyahoga County. I know that it qualified for COVID funds because it was in response to the COVID crisis and mass business shutdowns and layoffs. I do not know the answer to that. I would be able to check with the county and provide that to you, unless there's someone there who would be able to answer that as well.
Mike Chambers here again. Once again, this item was already approved a while back, and this is just amending a contract with the same money. So that discussion probably should have happened then, because doing anything with this item right now is not going to change our commitment. It's just amending a contract that was already agreed to, and allowing them to amend their communication plan.
Okay, it's just, we have $215 million in CARES Act funds, and anywhere we could find a place to apply it and save perhaps the Mandel Foundation from their contribution, we could apply somewhere else. But it was just a question.
No,
Thank
and
you
I
for your
agree.
answer.
Yeah, I think it was 75,000 each, if I'm not mistaken, or 150,000. I get the numbers mixed up, but I'll have that for you. But that was already determined. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike.
Sure. Any further questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chambers.
Sure. Any further questions?
Appreciate it, Mr. Chambers.
No, all good. I will make a motion to approve then.
This is Trevor.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you're comfortable with believing that it's just amending that we're not adding additional 19.1 to it, I'm okay with going forward today.
Yeah, I just got a text confirmation. I'll forward it to you here. Multitasking. Yeah, I'm very
Okay,
comfortable.
you can do it later. I just wanted to make sure you're comfortable with that, and then I'm okay if that's the case.
Yes, I'm good with it.
Thank you.
Sure. I'm going to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Trevor.
Second, Lynn Jacobs.
Okay, seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Thank you.
Moving on to exemptions. Item number BC 2020-376, Department of Public Works, recommending to amend board approval number BC 2020-196, dated March 23rd, 2020, which amended various Board of Control approval numbers, which authorized an alternative procurement process and made award recommendations to various providers in the total amount not to exceed, and this amount needs to be amended to reflect $620,000, not $520,000, for the purchase of ready mix concrete to complete various department orders, and it's for the period March 1st, 2018 through February 28th, 2021, by changing the amount not to exceed from $620,000 to $720,000 for the following providers: A, Rockport Construction and Materials, Inc., B, Carr Brothers, Inc., C, Cuyahoga Concrete Co., D, Campbell Concrete and Supply, E, Osborne, and F, Tech Ready Mix.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item, we're looking to just add $100,000 to the already previously approved alternate procurement that we have with concrete. This alternate procurement is an allowable procurement process. We started with an informal bid to multiple vendors, and then over time we've added additional vendors to this alternate procurement list that we have based on business need and availability. We're just adding additional $100,000 to the allowable funds. Any department orders or purchase orders that do need to be created, those will come back to the board for approval.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions from the board members? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
This is Trevor, second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved.
Thank you.
And that was as amended. Thank you.
Next item is the consent agenda. Item numbers BC 2020-377 through 383.
If everyone can take a moment and speak up if they have any questions on the item, I'll give a minute.
Mr. Chair, this is Trevor. Just one question on the 381. And on the advanced questions and answers, I just want to make sure that I think we have a correct understanding. It looks like we're requesting to apply for $58,000 in coronavirus relief funding from the U.S. Department of Justice, and our plan with that would be to use it for some fleet vehicles potentially, or some protection on fleet vehicles. I'm just looking at those answers now. So if anyone's on the call.
On this grant, the Department of Justice implemented this new grant program for coronavirus relief and allocated $58,008 to Cuyahoga County. With a short timetable, the projects that we decided to apply for this funding for included applying an antimicrobial film to the sheriff's fleet vehicles. Antimicrobial film will kill any pathogens on contact and protect our officers, inmates that are being transported, any suspects that are arrested, anybody riding in the vehicles from potentially coronavirus and other pathogens. With the other funding, we were going to look at purchasing some media carts, which will be used for training throughout the Sheriff's Department allow for remote meetings to comply with social distancing requirements. And with the remaining funds, we were going to purchase tablets for the jail administration, because right now all they have is desktop computers and cell phones. And so by giving them a tablet computer, they can they can check up on things and work while they're in the jail, and that will reduce the amount of times they have to go in and out of the jail facility, which as we open up to the public, it'll help protect the public, it'll help protect the inmates in the jail.
And Stephen, just as follow-up to that, do we know we're getting the 58,000? We've already been awarded that?
So we had to bring this forward to the agenda as a request to apply and also a request to accept, because that short timetable, they expedited this. So we're requesting approval to apply for and accept the award that we've already been awarded.
And then last question, is spending, is it similar to the CARES Act money where it has to be spent by end of December, or do we have a little bit more flexibility with these funds in terms of when the money has to be spent?
This grant funding, as far as my understanding, is we have plenty of time to spend this. We have through the end of 2022, but we are looking to get this moving as quick as possible in order to utilize these funds so that we can get those media cards and we can get that antimicrobial film to respond to coronavirus right now.
Gotcha. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you. Further questions from the board on any of the today's consent agenda items?
Nan Baker, just a clarification for the 381. Is the 58,000 that we are requesting for a grant, is that the top of the grant? Is that all we can ask for, or is there other funding that we could still qualify for that doesn't end until 2022?
Stephen Witt with the Sheriff's Department. The Department of Justice broke out their allocations for this grant, and $58,008 is what was allocated to county, and that was the maximum that we could apply for.
Max, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Last call for further questions before we move on. Okay, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, today's consent agenda is approved. Moving on, do we have any additional business?
Business at this time?
Any public comment at this time? Anybody out there with public comment? Going once, twice, okay. No public comment. With that being said, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn today's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lee Tucker.
I'll second.
Lee got you, Dale. Seconded by Lee Tucker. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone.